Welcome, Cosmic Seekers. This message is delivered by Jessica Thomas. And this week, April 15th to 21st, 2025, the universe invites us into a profound journey of emotional depth and cosmic truth. With significant planetary movements and alignments, we're poised to uncover hidden layers of our psyche and embrace transformative energies. This period isn't just about celestial events, it's about how these energies mirror our inner world, urging us to align more authentically with our true selves. Why you feel everything more this week. As the sun transitions into Aries on April 14th, it marks a time of initiation and heightened sensitivity. This shift amplifies our emotional responses, making us more attuned to both internal and external stimuli. It's as if the universe holds up a mirror reflecting our deepest feelings and desires. The conjunction of Mercury, Venus, and Saturn in Pisces adds layers of introspection. Pisces, being the sign of dissolution and transcendence, encourages us to release outdated patterns. This alignment may stir emotions from the past, prompting us to address unresolved issues. It's a call to cleanse our emotional plate and prepare for renewal. Mars transit into Cancer brings a nurturing yet protective energy. While Cancer urges us to care and connect, Mars instills a drive to defend and assert. This combination can lead to emotional volatility as we oscillate between vulnerability and the need for security. Recognizing this dynamic allows us to navigate our feelings with compassion and strength. This week, emotions serve as guides, illuminating areas requiring attention and healing. By embracing our feelings without judgment, we align with the cosmic flow, facilitating personal growth and deeper self-standing. Nakshatra gateways are opening hidden layers of self. As the moon moves through powerful nakshatras this week, Swati Vishaka and Anuradha Jessica explains that these lunar constellations act as gateways to deeper layers of our emotional and spiritual consciousness. They open doors not just to experiences, but to remember truth. Swati asks where we've compromised too much. Vishaka challenges what we're willing to sacrifice for alignment. Anuradha reminds us that devotion is not submission, it's presence with purpose. These nakshatras don't operate on the surface, they stir the subconscious. Jessica describes this as a peeling away of illusion, revealing your core emotional framework. You may find yourself unexpectedly revisiting old memories or seeing present situations through an entirely new lens. It's not regression, it's activation. Your deeper self rising. This week is less about external action and more about internal access. The nakshatras act like ancient frequency maps that align your inner world with divine order. Jessica encourages viewers to sit with the sensations that arise. You don't need to understand everything, you need to feel it fully and let your awareness stretch into new spaces. Jessica reminds us that these nakshatra energies aren't linear, they're spiral. You may loop through similar lessons, but this time with new wisdom. Let the layers unfold. The universe isn't hiding truth from you. It's waiting for you to become steady enough to see what was always there. Planetary motion is disturbing stuck emotional codes. This week's Vic transits shake loose energies that have long sat dormant in the body and psyche. Jessica teaches that planetary shifts, especially Saturn's ongoing retrograde influence and Mercury's combustion act, like spiritual acupuncture, pressing into energetic meridians that hold your old emotional patterns. The goal is not to disrupt you, but to unfreeze what no longer serves you. You may feel this physically random tension fatigue, even a sudden desire to clean or move your space. These aren't coincidences. Jessica explains that our environment often mirrors what's stored in the body. When planets move with force, they stir the sediment in the subconscious, revealing emotional codes we haven't yet processed. But what is a stuck emotional code? Jessica describes it as a choice we made, often in fear that we never revisited. These choices get embedded as beliefs, postures, reactions. The planets are now triggering the update button, urging us to reevaluate those defaults. Are they still true? Or were they only true when we were less awake? Let yourself feel the discomfort without labeling it as a setback. Jessica reminds us energy and motion heals. These planetary motions are not punishing. They are liberating the emotional backlog that's kept you from clarity. Don't resist the movement. Let the release make space for something truer to emerge. Cosmic timing is forcing truth to the surface. Jessica shares that one of the most unmistakable signatures of this week's energy is that truth will rise. Whether it's within yourself, your relationships, or your worldview, what's been hidden, either by choice or by survival instinct, can no longer stay below the surface. The planets are acting like frequency X rays, they're revealing what's out of sync. You might notice revelations coming through conversation, intuition, or even dreams. Jessica encourages you to pay attention to what's being said between the lines. This isn't the time to brush aside your knowing. If something rises now, it does so because you're ready to hold it differently. Truth doesn't always arrive gently. Sometimes it's abrupt, inconvenient, or even painful. But Jessica reminds us truth, when revealed in divine timing, heals what falsehoods only temporarily protected. This week is about choosing clarity over comfort, alignment over approval, and reality over illusion. Don't fear the truth that's emerging, whether it's about a person, a purpose, or a pattern. Jessica says the truth doesn't come to ruin your peace, it comes to build a stronger one. Let it do its work. This is not exposure, it's soul correction. And what gets corrected now will ripple blessings far beyond this week. Jupiter's aspect illuminates soul contracts in conflict. Jupiter's gaze, his D-sheet. This week falls on areas of our chart that relate to Dharma relationships and higher learning. Jessica explains that this illumination has one purpose: to highlight where our current life choices are out of sync with soul agreements. You may suddenly feel conflict, not because something is wrong, but because something is out of alignment with your original assignment. These moments can be jarring. You might love what you're doing, but something feels off, or a relationship seems supportive, but the deeper layer feels unfinished or untrue. Jessica says that this is Jupiter, showing you that your soul made long-term agreements and now those contracts are up for review. This doesn't mean endings, it means realignments. Maybe you need to shift your role in a relationship or step into more responsibility in your purpose. Jupiter doesn't ask you to quit, he asks you to graduate, to level up where you've been playing small, unclear, or compliant. Jessica encourages you to journal this week with the question, where am I pretending not to know what I came here to do? Let Jupiter's light burn away the fog. You are not lost, you're being guided to remember. And the soul contract only activates fully when you stop pretending it isn't yours. Mars is uncovering where you've traded power for peace. As Mars transits through Cancer, Jessica explains that we're entering a deeply emotional phase where courage meets vulnerability. Cancer wants connection, protection, and belonging. Mars wants action, movement, and control. When these two collide, we are shown exactly where we've sacrificed our voice for the illusion of safety. You may feel a rise of anger, not as destruction, but as awakening. Jessica teaches that Mars in Cancer can trigger suppressed emotion, especially around places where we've stayed silent to keep the peace. These aren't just personal dynamics, they're ancestral and karmic. You may feel heat in the chest, a sudden urge to express, or tears that carry more than words. This is your root energy waking up. The truth is, many of us were conditioned to believe that peace means avoiding conflict. But Jessica reminds us peace that costs your authenticity is not peace, it's energetic suppression. Mars is asking, where did you agree to shrink so others wouldn't feel disrupted? And more importantly, are you ready to stop making yourself small? This isn't about fighting, it's about realigning with spiritual authority. Mars in Cancer shows us that true peace comes not from pleasing, but from honoring. Honor your needs, speak what you've withheld. Jessica encourages you to let Mars show you that power isn't aggression. It's alignment with what you deeply know to be true. Karmic residue from past lives may intensify. During this week's alignments, especially with Saturn and Ketu influencing the lunar nodes, Jessica notes that karmic threads may rise to the surface. These aren't always dramatic events. Often they come as feelings that seem older than you are. A sadness you can't explain, a fear with no origin, a knowing that feels ancient. That's karmic residue asking to be acknowledged. Jessica describes this as soul memory being activated by cosmic timing. The planets create resonance fields. When your frequency hits a match with an old imprint, the emotion rises. This doesn't mean you're broken, it means something hidden is coming up to complete itself. You're not being haunted, you're being liberated. You may find that certain people or patterns are especially triggering this week. Pay attention. Jessica encourages reflection. What is this pulling from me that doesn't feel like mine? This is how you locate the past life thread. Not through fantasy, but through resonance, through emotional echo. The key is not to indulge the story, but to witness it without fear. Jessica says that karmic clearing doesn't require drama. It requires clarity and willingness to stop repeating. When you meet that echo with presence, you send a signal across timelines. The loop ends with me. Venus realigns love with cosmic maturity. Venus this week brings a lesson. Few are prepared for, love isn't always meant to be easy. Sometimes it arrives to refine you, stretch you, and show you where you're still loving with conditions. Jessica shares that Venus is helping us transition from emotional romance into energetic partnership. Love is a path, not a possession. You may find that relationships undergo shifts, conversations that challenge old dynamics, realizations about attachment, or new needs that arise with clarity. Venus doesn't bring this to harm you, she brings it to mature you. Jessica explains that real love is built on shared evolution, not just shared feelings. This week is about asking, are you still holding on to love as comfort, or are you willing to love with depth, honesty, and spiritual responsibility? Jessica reminds us that Venus loves beauty, but not at the cost of truth. The real beauty is found in emotional transparency and growing together. Even when it's hard, Venus invites you to revisit your values, not just your attractions. What are you truly building with those you love? Is your connection supporting your soul's expansion? Or is it holding you in outdated emotional contracts? Love aligned with spirit becomes unshakable, and that's what Venus is guiding you toward now. The emotional wave is preparing an intuitive upgrade. Jessica shares that the intensity of emotion this week is not accidental. It's the precursor to an intuitive recalibration. Just like storms clear the air, emotional waves clear psychic interference. You may feel overwhelmed now, but it's only because your system is clearing space for new frequency downloads. Tears may come. Unexpectedly, not because you're broken, but because your field is adjusting. Jessica explains that many people try to push away these emotional floods, but that's like closing the window during a cleansing breeze. The wave is sacred. It's moving energy that needs to move. As you allow yourself to feel more deeply, you'll begin to sense more clearly. Intuition isn't logic, it's energetic sensitivity. Jessica reminds us that the clearer your heart is, the cleaner your intuitive channel becomes. What feels like emotional chaos now may actually be the shedding of psychic debris. Don't rush to interpret everything, just be present with what arises. The intuitive insight will come after the emotional clearing. Jessica says, this is how the divine speaks through feeling first, then knowing, let the wave pass through. And when it does, trust that what remains is your truth finally made audible. Mercury's movement rewrites mental narratives gently. This week, Mercury continues its delicate celestial dance, a movement that, according to Jessica, doesn't just affect communication, but also rewrites the stories you tell yourself. When Mercury travels through sensitive signs or nears combustion with the sun, our mental structures begin to melt, allowing for reconstruction from higher insight. You might find yourself questioning old beliefs, revisiting memories, or realizing that the voice in your head no longer sounds like your truth. Jessica explains this isn't confusion, it's mental realignment. The thoughts you inherited, absorbed, or used as survival tools are now being edited by a more conscious version of you. This process is subtle. You may feel quieter than usual, reflective, or disinterested in old conversations. That's Mercury loosening your attachment to mental noise. Jessica encourages you to welcome this pause. It's not emptiness, it's recoding. Your thoughts are being reprogrammed to match your current vibration, not your former fears. Let this week be a reset. Don't force clarity, allow it to emerge from stillness. Jessica reminds us Mercury is not trying to fix you. It's showing you how to think from your soul's rhythm instead of your ego's script. And once that shift happens, your reality will begin to follow the new narrative. Rahu's influence is testing your alignment with desire. Under this week's sky Rahu, the north node of the moon casts a potent shadow across our desires. Jessica explains that Rahu isn't evil, but he is a magnifier. He inflates what you think you want to test, whether it's truly aligned with your soul or simply born of hunger, ego, or fantasy. You might feel pulled towards something that seems exciting, but also destabilizing. That's Rahu. He presents illusions not to trap you, but to teach you discernment. Jessica says Rahu's influence is like a mirror coated in smoke. It reflects your desires but distorts them slightly to see if you'll look closer. Ask yourself, is this calling me deeper into myself or farther away? Does it energize me or scatter me? These questions are keys to decoding Rahu's lessons. Jessica reminds us that Rahu isn't here to shame desire, but to refine it to show you that what's meant for you won't require you to abandon yourself. This week, the test is not whether you can manifest, it's whether you can recognize what's real. Rahu will tempt you to chase shiny things, but Jessica encourages you to anchor in soul integrity because what's real will remain. After the glamour fades, and Rahu always fades, lunar shifts recalibrate feminine energetics across all genders. Jessica teaches that as the moon moves through sensitive nakshatras this week, its energy is recalibrating the feminine current within all of us, regardless of gender. This isn't about femininity as style or softness. It's about magnetic power, emotional intelligence, and spiritual receptivity. The moon doesn't command, it invites. You may notice heightened sensitivity, creative impulses, or a deep longing for connection, not as distraction, but as restoration. Jessica explains that these are not symptoms of fragility. They are activations of your intuitive intelligence. The moon is guiding you back into communion with feeling as a form of knowing. This week is about remembering how to move through life by sensing, not forcing. How to respond from stillness instead of reacting from fear. Jessica says the recalibration may feel like moodiness or emotional flux, but beneath it lies the return of ancient energetic wisdom. The feminine isn't weak, it's wave-based power. Let this energy teach you again how to hold without gripping, listen without solving, and love without losing yourself. Jessica reminds us when the feminine within is restored, you don't become less, you become whole. And the moon is calling you to that wholeness now, one cycle at a time. Saturn's quiet wait is building spiritual maturity. Saturn often works in silence, and this week is no exception. Jessica describes Saturn's current role as a silent architect, reshaping our inner structure without fanfare. You may feel heaviness, slowness, or even boredom, but don't mistake it for stagnation. Saturn is rooting you. He's making your foundation unshakable. This isn't an easy feeling. Saturn rarely gives quick relief. Instead, he offers long-term stability, but only to those willing to stay with the process. Jessica shares that what feels like resistance may actually be the invitation to deepen into disciplined devotion and alignment with your long-term self. Saturn isn't trying to hold you back. He's helping you stop running from what matters. You may feel tested in areas like time responsibility or boundaries. Jessica says these aren't punishments, they're refinements. They show you where your life is still built on emotional sand instead of spiritual stone. So instead of asking, why is this taking so long? Ask, what am I being prepared to sustain? Jessica reminds us that Saturn doesn't rush because he builds what lasts. And if you let him finish this work in you, you'll be able to hold blessings that would have broken the old version of you. Your physical body may reveal spiritual delays. Jessica explains that this week your physical body might begin to act like a spiritual barometer, revealing delays, misalignments, or resistances that your mind hasn't yet caught up to. Fatigue, digestive shifts, body aches, or changes in appetite aren't necessarily medical. They're often energetic messages encoded in sensation. We're taught to treat the body as separate from our spiritual journey. But the truth is that the body often feels spiritual shifts before we consciously register them. Jessica says the body is a truth teller. If your soul is trying to expand, but you're staying in old routines, your body will start to protest. You may feel pulled to rest more or crave foods that support grounding. These are not regressions. They are part of integration. The nervous system, the cellular matrix, even your breath patterns are recalibrating to match the vibrational shifts initiated by this week's cosmic movements. Let your body lead with honesty. Jessica urges you to listen gently. What part of your physical life is trying to slow you down, pull you inward, or ask for care? These aren't distractions. They're alignments asking to be honored. Your soul doesn't just ascend in light, it embodies truth through matter. Cosmic winds are shifting your dharma gently. Dharma, the path of your soul's highest truth, is not always a lightning bolt or a sudden awakening. Jessica shares that this week the cosmos whispers it gently through shifts in focus values and intuition. You may not realize it's happening until you look back and see how different your energy has become. The winds of karma and dharma are moving softly now, not to shock, but to nudge. You may find yourself losing interest in things that once defined you, or feeling quietly drawn to spaces you haven't yet explored. Jessica calls this dharmic recalibration, not a change of purpose, but a return to it in a more refined form. Rather than chasing clarity, allow clarity to arise through staying present with your changing attention. Jessica explains that dharma often speaks through curiosity and calm inner certainty, not pressure. If something feels more effortless than usual or draws you back again and again, it may be dharma inviting you to walk more fully in alignment. Dharma isn't always a task, it's a tone. And when your inner tone starts to shift towards something quieter, truer, and more peaceful, Jessica says the wind is guiding you. Let yourself drift toward what feels more like home. The cosmos is clearing a path through you, not just for you. Watch for repeating patterns, they are timeline markers. Jessica teaches that when life repeats itself, it's not failure, it's navigation. Repeating patterns are not punishment. They're timeline markers, reminders that you're standing at a choice point again, but with more awareness this time. The universe isn't testing you, it's asking, will you respond differently? Now, this week, you may find familiar emotions, conversations or conflicts resurfacing. Don't be discouraged. Jessica explains that these repetitions are energetic intersections, moments when the past, present, and potential future overlap. What you do this time determines whether the pattern dissolves or continues. Instead of resisting the repeat approach, it with curiosity. What part of you is being invited to upgrade? What belief is being called out of hiding? Jessica encourages journaling or voice notes when these moments arise. You're not just remembering, you're reclaiming your authority to shift the outcome. Breaking a pattern doesn't require drama. It requires clarity and choice. When you recognize the moment and choose consciously, you jump timelines quietly, powerfully, and permanently. Jessica reminds us, nothing repeats unless it still holds a piece of your power. Reclaim that piece and the pattern no longer needs to return. Spiritual solitude is not isolation, it's sacred positioning. In a week, this energetically dense solitude is more than rest, it's strategy. Jessica shares that solitude is often mistaken for loneliness, but in truth, it's spiritual positioning. You may feel called to step back, go quiet, or limit your social interactions. That's not withdrawal, it's realignment with your own signal. When cosmic energy is this heightened, your field becomes highly absorbent. Being around too many energies can scatter your own. Jessica says, solitude allows your vibration to stabilize without interference. It's like tuning an instrument in silence before playing with the orchestra again. Solitude doesn't mean disconnection, it means recalibration. You're not avoiding the world, you're preparing to re-enter it with greater clarity, focus, and truth. Jessica encourages you to treat your alone time this week as a ritual. Light a candle, walk slowly, speak aloud only to your soul. Let solitude sing back your true tone. You're not missing out, you're tuning in. Jessica reminds us that those who leave the new frequency often walk alone before they walk ahead. Spiritual solitude is not a gap. It's a bridge between who you were and who you're becoming. April's end holds a choice point for the next 6 months. Jessica shares that the week of April 15th to 21st is not isolated. It is a threshold week, opening the energetic doorway into the next 6 months of your spiritual evolution. Every decision you make now, emotionally, mentally, energetically, echoes far beyond this moment. You're at a choice point, and the cosmos is listening. This isn't a choice between right and wrong. It's a choice between resonance and repetition. Do you lean into your new rhythm or slip back into the old identity? Um, Jessica explains that the planetary alignments this week make your field especially responsive. What you commit to, even subtly, gains momentum. This choice point isn't meant to scare you, it's meant to empower you. Life is not happening to you, it's moving with your frequency. Jessica encourages mindfulness in everything. Your words, your silence, your focus, even your stillness now plants seeds for who you'll be by October. You don't need a dramatic plan, you need daily presence. Jessica reminds us that timelines aren't just cosmic, they are personal. The one you walk from April's end forward will not be determined by fate, it will be chosen by the quality of your now.